Session resumed.
Senator Gatchalian is done with his interpellation, Mr. President. We just had to clarify some very interesting points that was brought up by his very interesting special provisions and manifestation.
So that's it.
That's
Majority
it.
Leader.
Mr. President, before I make the necessary motion and as part of the Education Commission too, may I just make a very short manifestation, Mr. President?
Yes, please.
Thank you,
proceed.
Mr. President. Mr. President, I fully support the budget of the Commission on Higher Education and most definitely the state universities and colleges. Together with the chairperson of the subcommittee as well as our education champions in the Senate, we supported the inclusion of the following provisions in the fiscal year 2024 Senate version of the General Appropriations Bill. Mr. President, there's this additional 287 million for the increase in carrying capacity of 15 SUC colleges of medicine, additional 125 million seed fund for the development of medical schools in SUCs. Now the current total is 275 million. Again, we thank our sponsor of the measure, Senator Pia Cayetano, for helping us because, Mr. President, if you recall, when we started deliberating that measure, ito pong Doktor para sa Bayan Act or Republic Act number 115009. Tayo po ay masaya sa paglago ng mga oportunidad, Mr. President, para sa ating mag-aaral na nais po mag-aral ng medisina. And if you recall, during that time, 3:10,000 ang doctor ratio, patient ratio. At ngayon po, tumataas na yung bilang ng ating mga doktor kumpara noon. Ngunit nangangamba pa rin tayo dahil yung kakulangan ng salapi para pondohan, hindi lamang yung ating scholarship program, but also, Mr. President, the schools of medicine na supposed to be by next year will be able to cover all regions of the entire country. So mula po sa 8 SUC colleges of medicine, sa 7 rehiyon, meron na po tayo ngayon na 19 SUCs sa 14 regions of the country. We are humbled, Mr. President, and honored to have done our part in addressing the Achilles heel of our healthcare system. And we will continue to work with the Commission on Higher Education and our higher education institutions to address the present 114,000 doctor shortage in the country. And in addition to this, we'd like to stress the importance of the following points. Under the Senate version of TESDA's budget, we have included an amount of 12 million in additional funding for the activities of the Interim Secretariat of the PQF, or the Philippine Qualifications Framework National Coordinating Council. We just hope, Mr. President, that they will keep on meeting, Mr. President, because as you recall, when Vice President Sara Duterte was here, we indicated the appreciation of this representation that in 1.5 years of being the Vice President and head of DepEd, she was able to call at least 4 meetings. Unlike in the past, for the past 4 years, 4 meetings lang ang naganap dito sa PQF-NCC. Another, Mr. President, is we wanted to follow up the implementing rules and regulations of the Republic Act number 11551. This is the Labor Education Act. Mr. President, kayo po'y co-author natin dito sa batas na ito, which became a law in 2021. Until now, wala pa rin po yung IRR. And so we'd like to remind the Commission that the law only provided, Mr. President, 60 days from the effectivity of this particular act, the formulation of IRR. We hope to finally see the IRR of this very important legislation, a bit the delay for almost 3 years. Last but not the least, Mr. President, and I think it's also important to note that 1 in 3 seafarers in the world is a Filipino. And with a total of 489,698 seafarers deployed in 2022, we cannot emphasize enough, Mr. President, the role of the CHEd to strengthen the maritime education system in the country. We will hold the CHEd to its commitments in operationalizing its plans and courses of action for our continuous compliance to the European Maritime Safety Agency or EMSA audit. At ma-ensure din po nila that our seafarers will not have to worry again about the non-recognition of their certification. Muli, Ginoong Pangulo, maraming salamat, congratulations, at binibigay po natin yung regards sa ating mga pinuno, sa CHEd at sa ating mga SUCs. Thank you, Mr. President.
Before we tackle their budgets, to approve the budget, Madam Sponsor, may I just make a manifestation, like small query. We were together in a very successful trip to Hungary. I heard today you discussed some problems with the CHEd. For the CHEd family, alam mo, binibigyan tayo ng Hungary ng 35 scholars. And I believe it was not filled up. So I don't understand why hindi na fill up yan. Were you able to discuss, Madam Sponsor, with them what was the reasons why they were not able to fill up these free scholarships given by the Hungarian government, libre, Hungarian government to our students? And ano yan ha? It can be undergrad, postgrad, and PhD courses.
Actually, Mr. President, upon your instructions, and you know, your, our desire to prioritize education, knowing that in other countries, they are actually able to give even 100 scholarships because they are takers.
Yes.
So we committed that during this budget, we will facilitate a meeting. So the representative of the Hungary embassy was here today, meeting with
Fantastic.
the SUCs. So for closer coordination. So that's a commitment, Mr. President, we make because, like you said, sayang, nandyan na yung offer, and contrary to what some students might think, it's conducted in English. So
Yes.
nakakahinayang. But if
conducted in
His
English.
Honor will recall, on the spot naman po, we were texting already Chairman Popoy, no, at that time, and he also committed that they will ensure that these slots are filled. But that is why we had the representative of Hungary attend today and meet all the SUC presidents. So baka din pati ho yung ibang kaibigan natin from other countries, we're willing to do the same for them as well, no? To coordinate, to support these scholarship programs for our students, and which will also strengthen our ties with these other countries, Mr. President.
Yes, because I believe it, the yearly allocation is 35, but they can increase it.
They will if
They
napupuno.
will, as those may estudyante.
Yes.
Hindi natin napupuno, ma'am. So, alam ni sponsor yan, we were together. Hindi napupuno yan, Chairman, kaya hindi nila may bibigay. Vietnam has like 200. Vietnam has
Yun nga.
200 students free in Hungary every year. Kasi daw, they're asking for more allocations. It's given. It is never denied. The problem is we don't have, this year, I think we only filled up 20. So may 15, di ba? 25, so may 10 na kulang. So, sana, Chairman, ma-action na natin yan.
Actually-
we have to work fast because pag nalampasan na natin yung due date, susunod na naman ng taon yan. So those SUCs that are listening here, if you have
okay.
outstanding students
Okay.
and
Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah. I recall, Mr. President, this is dated. When we were in Hungary, tinext ko po si Chairman, October 27, yung request niya is more courses pa in engineering. So that's where we can help facilitate.
Yes.
Gusto pala natin ng more engineering. Baka naman makapagbigay din sila. So
Yes.
we'll work together, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, Majority Floor Leader,
I
before.
was about to point out, Mr. President, that I am hoping for an affirmative and commitment to what I mentioned.
Yes.
There are three things: EMSA, labor education, IRR, and the operationalization of the PQF law, Mr. President.
Ay, paano yung sa operation?
Mag-meeting lang doon.
Sabi nga.
Yeah, meron na. Tagal na. Hindi sila naging...
Okay. Yes, Mr. President, on EMSA, this was also brought up by the Deputy Minority Floor Leader. The response there is the review of all the reevaluation of all the maritime schools are ongoing, and there is a 3-year deadline, but the President actually wants it done in 2 years. With regards to the operationalization of the PQF law, as His Honor correctly pointed out, DepEd is very crucial here. And as His Honor said, the Vice President Secretary of DepEd has been instrumental in ensuring that there are regular meetings. On this note, before I go to the labor education, I will include a often repeated question or query that my brother Senator Alan always includes. And this is how long will it take for the commitment of CHEd to reduce the number of years in college? Because that was a commitment made when we passed K-12. And I've asked this during the hearing, if you recall, Chairman Popoy. The response you gave me is that you are awaiting also the various, ano ba tawag doon? The technical groups to be the one. Pero how do you crack the whip? Kasi meanwhile, nakapag-graduate na yung additional year, taon-taon. So I just have to manifest that, Mr. President, because many parents expected that with the K-12, mababawasan yung college years. And we already know in other countries, maraming course na 3 years lang. So I just have to repeat that. The final point of His Honor is on the Labor Education Act. Sabi ng CHEd, this is with DOLE right now. Sila yung nag-request na i-review ulit ang IRR. Narinig po ba yun ng ating Majority Floor Leader? At hindi kayo masaya, pero yan ang katotohanan. So, it's with DOLE. It's with DOLE. So, anyway, to make His Honor, the Majority Floor Leader, happy, kasi, did you want to reply to that first on labor? That's it. There's nothing. That's
because I was told that it's actually the Commission on Higher Education that is in charge of the IRR, Mr. President. So
actually, that is accurate, Mr. President. They are in charge. They've submitted it, and they said they were ready to sign, but DOLE wanted to review it again.
thank you.
They requested for
We'll do that. They were just here yesterday, but had I known, Mr. President, but I will not reconsider their budget. Don't worry, Mr. President.
Okay.
So
Sige.
yes, I am.
But before you move to submit, Mr. President, just a very quick response on our favorite topic, the Doktor para sa Bayan and the medical scholarship. I affirm and confirm the numbers that His Honor put on record. A total of 1.26 billion is what the Senate carried. We have always taken the lead on funding this program, the medical scholarships and the support for medical schools. Every year, I am proud to report that because of our initiative, we did not pass a law that simply says, dagdagan nyo yung doktor, bigyan namin kayong konting scholarships. Every year, we ensure that there is budget for capital outlay, for MOOE, and for personal services. This cannot, and the seed fund. This program cannot be effective without these very detailed interventions, Mr. President. And again, I also confirm happily, I want to share the joy of our Majority Floor Leader that from eight med schools in 2020, it's 2023, and we now have 19. And there are 11 more pending in CHEd, and I have to commend CHEd that in fairness, every year, they prioritize the evaluation of the readiness of these schools. That's why tayo may seed fund, because if a medical school is not open at the time we are having these debates, then the only way they can get funding is from the seed fund that we lodge with CHEd, Mr. President. So on that note, my final point on this is that we cannot provide health care to the Filipinos by the services of the doctors alone. And so every year, I always encourage the SUCs to strengthen their allied health programs. And I'm not, there have been some, Mr. President, Bulacan actually lately was asking for funding for that, Bulacan State University. But I really encourage all the SUC presidents here that have med schools, and even those that don't, na dagdagan nyo pa yung allied health programs nyo because they are also extremely important. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, distinguished colleague, sponsor of the measure. Finally, we are excited in Region 3 because next year, we're almost sure that we will have our very first public school SUC offering School of Medicine. I know that this is a very challenging task for all of us, but the Senate, to the leadership of our Senate President Mig Subiri, would continue to ensure that these laws that we are passing will be backed up with funds and experts and those who would run these institutions and hospitals. So maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. And with that, and there being no other reservation for interpellation, I move that we close the period of interpellations and debate and consider the budget of the state universities and colleges and the Commission on Higher Education to be deemed submitted for the body's consideration. I so move, Mr. President.
Before I do that, I would just like to congratulate the University of the Philippines for their basketball team. They're doing a good job, putting us on the edge every night. Congratulations, Mr. President, my bisdak na igsoon. So with that, there being no objection to the motion of the Majority Floor Leader, the budgets of the state universities and colleges and the Commission on Higher Education is hereby deemed submitted. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, before we do our traditional picture taking, may I move that we suspend the session until 11 o'clock Friday, November 17, 2023. I so move, Mr. President.
And time check, we're ending tonight at 8:49. Sana
The earliest.
Sana
The
earlier.
earliest, boss.
Baka earlier tomorrow.
Oh.
Request namin po ni Senator Coco. With that,
Thank
there
you.
being no objection, session is suspended till 11 a.m. Friday, November 17, 2023.